Okay, so let me take you to a place called Norvelt, Pennsylvania. The year is 1962. It's the peak of the Cold War, and for one kid named Jack Gantos, this is about to be the longest summer of his life. We're talking about a dying town, a whole string of really mysterious deaths, and this weird, unexpected link between writing obituaries and, well, understanding history itself. It all kicks off with one sentence, one single disastrous thought. I didn't know the rifle was loaded. That's it. That's the pull of a trigger on his dad's old war souvenir that sets this entire crazy story in motion. So, meet Jack. Besides getting himself into trouble, his main thing is that his nose, it just erupts like a volcano anytime he gets excited or scared. And after that little rifle incident, which, thank goodness, only took out his neighbor's hearing aid, he is grounded for the entire summer. To him, it feels like the absolute end of the world. But trust me, things are about to get a whole lot weirder. So you might be wondering, how does a kid who's grounded for life end up with a summer job? Well, his punishment is about to morph into a very, very strange kind of community service. Yeah, instead of just letting him waste away in his room, Jack's mom has this idea to loan him out. And his new boss? It's Miss Volker. She's the town's original nurse, she's the medical examiner, she's ancient, sharp as a tack, and, as it turns out, she's desperate for a pair of working hands. Now, Miss Volker has this crippling arthritis, and the way she deals with it is, well, it's a bizarre and kind of terrifying ritual. Jack's first job is to help, and he just watches in total horror as she plunges her hands into a pot of what looks like scalding liquid. Turns out it's just wax. Once she peels off these waxy gloves, her fingers can move again, but she still can't write. And, well, that's where Jack comes in. So, just like that, Jack becomes Miss Volker's official scribe. He's got his pen, he's got his paper, and he basically becomes her hands. And his one big job? Writing the obituaries for the town's original founders, who are, quickly dwindling. But here's the thing. These aren't your average run-of-the-mill obituaries. Miss Volker doesn't just write down some dates and list the relatives. Oh, no. For her, every single death is a chance for a history lesson. Miss Volker starts teaching Jack that history isn't just something you find in dusty old books. It's in the lives of the people all around him. He learns that Norvelt was actually a New Deal project founded by Eleanor Roosevelt herself to help families out during the Great Depression. She'll connect the death of a neighbor to, a peasant revolt in the 1300s, showing him that everyone's story is a part of something way, way bigger. And this whole theme of history versus escaping it, it's playing out right in Jack's own house. His mom, she believes in Norvelt, in the community, in its past. But his dad, he sees it as a total dead end. He's even secretly building an airplane, trying to save up enough money to get them all down to Florida. It's this constant battle between holding on to history and racing towards some unknown future. So, as Jack is spending his summer writing about all the dead people, he starts to notice that the living are acting pretty strange. The sleepy little town of Norvelt is just simmering with secrets. All of a sudden, all this weird stuff starts happening. A Hell's Angel turns up dead in a really bizarre accident. Jack's dad is literally building an airplane runway in a cornfield. The town creep, this guy Mr. Spizz, he starts delivering meals to all the old ladies. And here's the most disturbing part. Those same old ladies, the original founders of Norvelt, they start dying. Fast. What starts out as just a series of sad but, expected deaths, it quickly starts to feel like something way more sinister. This town isn't just dying out naturally. It feels like it's being killed off. The deaths just start piling up. First the Hell's Angel, and then it's one original Norvelter after another. Mrs. Dubicki, then Mrs. Linga, Mrs. Hamsby, Mrs. Drugi, they're all gone within just a few weeks. The pace is it's not natural. And this quiet little panic starts to spread through town. So what is going on here? Is this just a really tragic coincidence in an aging town? Or is someone actually intentionally thinning the herd? Of course, the finger-pointing starts immediately. You've got Mr. Spizz, who is obsessed with marrying Miss Volker, and he starts accusing her of poisoning everyone. At the same time, Miss Volker is complaining that the old ladies aren't dying fast enough so she can finally retire. And poor Jack, he gets stuck right in the middle of it all when Mr. Spizz tricks him into buying a can of rat poison. The whole mystery just explodes in Miss Volker's kitchen. Mr. Spizz, in his completely desperate move, ties her to a chair and confesses everything. He was the one delivering the meals and, get this, he was lacing their favorite Girl Scout cookies, Thin Mints, with the exact poison he had Jack buy. Then he steals Miss Volker's car and just bolts. So, with the killer revealed and on the run, the chaos of the summer finally starts to settle down, and the true meaning of everything that happened starts to come into focus. When you break it down, it was all pretty simple. Mr. Spizz's motive? Pure greed. He wanted to marry Miss Volker, but she had made this promise to stay in town until the last original resident died. So he decided to speed things along. Miss Volker, even though she sounded harsh, was just driven by this deep sense of duty. And Jack, who started out just trying to survive the summer, he ends up becoming the person who keeps all their stories alive, the next link in the chain. It all comes back to what Miss Volker said. History lasts forever, and we'll be judged by our history. She knew that what we do, good or bad, it doesn't just vanish. It becomes part of this permanent record, the story that defines who we are long after we're gone. You know, Jack started that summer thinking Norvelt was a total dead end. But he ends it realizing that his town isn't just a bunch of old houses. It's like a library, filled with lives. And its survival doesn't depend on the buildings, but on someone being there to actually remember and write down the stories of the people who lived there. Miss Volker was the historian for her little town, and Jack became her apprentice. And it really makes you wonder, right? Every family, every community has its own epic story full of weird events and surprise heroes and quiet tragedies. Who's making sure your story doesn't just disappear?